All right, everybody. Welcome to the very first breath conversation on this YouTube channel. I'm Sage Rader, and I'm here with Dr. Daniel Rainwater. What's up, Daniel?
Not much. Glad to be here.
We haven't really had a breath conversation at all. And that's my primary thing is breath. And I've been talking to PEMF and chroma therapy and red light and got a bunch of other conversations on. This is the very first one that we've done about breath. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about who you are, what you do, how you came to breath, and how we met?
Yeah, well, I came to breath a long time ago. Actually, my mom, when I was a teenager, she would tell me to breathe into my heart. She was all into the Heart Math Institute. And, as a teenager, I was not having it. I was like, Mom, your heart's not for breathing. That's what your lungs are for, like being smart about it. But when I was, I think 20 was the first time I did like breath work, like laying down. And that was just really profound. And kind of, I actually had the experience in that first session, having no idea what I was getting in for. I had the experience of coming out of it being like, I'm supposed to, like, I have to do this. Like, this is my life. But it was so, as a 20-year-old, I was like, I then proceeded on to do everything but that for about 10 years. And then circled back to it. So yeah, I think has it been 2 years now since I met you? And I had done some breathwork trainings, had started to work with people with the breath. And then the trainings I'd done were great, but my breath was kind of, I always prioritized my own practice. I've always, more than a teacher, I've always been a practitioner, just kind of selfishly trying to get my own organism sorted out. And so
Mm.
when I came across you were talking about stuff that just really resonated with me, because in my own breath practice, I was going towards this kind of subtle quality that was very, I didn't know if it was correct. There was a part of my mind that's like, well, this isn't how, the trainings and all of the information that you have is like, this isn't correct. And even being told by some of those teachers to not do what I was doing, and being like, I don't buy that. Like, I'm following my breath. The breath is the teacher and all that stuff. And so you came along, and I was like, this is kind of starting to articulate what I'm not yet able to articulate, but what I'm experiencing. Um, so yeah, then the first session we traded sessions and breathe in,
That was back
breathe
in the
in.
day, man. That was way
Yeah.
early. You called me up. So, real quick, I got off of social. We met on social. I just decided I don't like who I am on social. I don't like social, and I don't like where breath is going. I don't like any of this. This is not cool. So, I completely eradicated it. I didn't suspend, I just killed my account. And I said at the time, anyone who's real will follow me off the internet. And sure enough, we had exchanged numbers, and you contacted me. And you stayed with me, whether I was available and had anything to teach or not. And you continued to watch and follow and stay connected. And so when NeuroAcrobatics was sufficiently formed to be a thing, you were one of the first people to sign up and join that first cohort at the Professional School of
Mhm.
Behavioral Health Sciences, Dr. Litchfield School. What's the primary difference between NeuroAcrobatics and all the other breath work that you've done prior? So you had some experience. You came to me. We
Yeah.
traded sessions. What's the main difference for people who are watching?
Well, I've talked about this on Instagram. It's similar to neurofeedback for me. That because when I did other breath work when I was in my 20s, I then had LENS, low energy neurofeedback done. And that started to get the parts of my brain that were underactive to fire. And those were the parts of the brain that would be associated with like feeling optimistic or just feeling okay. And so I had worn these grooves. Our brains are ditch diggers, and I wasn't able to breathe or meditate or think my way out of those grooves, because even if I chose to think a different thought, the person that was administering the treatment and was so helpful, she was saying, it's been 20 years of digging these grooves. It's going to take 20 years of meditating, or but with the low energy neurofeedback, it's like it kind of gets straight into that part. So I've always thought of breathing then, it's like you can breathe faster than normal, you can breathe slower than normal, and you can rewire your brain through either of those depending on your actual approach. So what you really kind of brought to me was this kind of bridging the gap of this, the neurons firing, and this need to be able to create new neural pathways, and then a way to use breath work in a way that's actually accomplishing that. So it's integrative. You're not transforming and then trying to integrate the transformation. You're just integrating this new way of being. And so you kind of are working smarter instead of harder, because you don't have to go through all of this craziness. It's like it's kind of like low energy. You get the biofeedback as you're doing it, and it really changes your brain.
I found that, yeah, it actually wires in the ability to endure the unendurable.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, it was created in a pressure test of physical discomfort and getting off opioids with a failed fusion surgery and all of that. It was designed to very rapidly produce something in my system that's not a bypass, but that physiologically represents that new neural change.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
That's what I really, when I was in my 20s, I had just my mood, like, I didn't have anything. I mean, I had physical injuries, nothing like what you went through, but I was really at a point of, I had dropped out of college, and it was like, I have to fix my brain, because I was so depressed and hopeless. And I started to realize, oh, it's like my gut is the second brain or whatever. So, I got into all this healthy stuff, but it was really my, the grooves, the habitual thought patterns that I would go down were just gridlocked. So yeah, it's really come full circle for me, because that was the thing, was like, okay, I understand how this works. And breath work, it's like you can use the breath to achieve any goal. And I don't know if people understand that, or if people talk about that. It's like, well, what is this for? But to me, it's like NeuroAcrobatics is getting at the kind of the baseline of, like, if we don't have a decent orientation of thought towards our experience, what hope do we have of implementing a daily activity that's going to be anything other than just more misery?
Right.
So really kind of foundational. But then from that foundation, you can really take it as far as you want and get into, manifestation, or, whatever, that as woo-woo or as scientific as you want to go, like, you can go there.
It's really both. It's application of science using creative arts. And in a second, I'm going to ask you to articulate what you put on Instagram the other day. It was very fascinating. It's a great articulation of what I've taught. Brains are ditch diggers. Core fundamental tenet. That's like one of the first core principles. Your brain is never not digging a ditch, people. Every thought is either a teaspoon or a front loader building its way into a neural net. And so if I want to think about myself and the world around me differently, and it's not dependent on circumstances, I'm going to have to find a way to check in. And no matter what anyone says, no matter what it looks like, no matter what you hear, the feedback will not always be optimal from other people, especially in breathwork, especially when there's real serious medical trauma. For anyone who's listening, I'm not promising you a system that will help you find your highest, best, beautiful self. And you can go that way, like Daniel just said, right? You can go woo, and the woo is there. Those principles cannot be denied, and science simply can't explain them. So it's not anti-science. It's just that place where we're waiting for science to catch up to explain our experience. So you're an artist, you're a musician, you're a creator. Can you just read for us what you wrote on Instagram the other day that inspired me so much that I wanted to have you share it with people today? And then talk about how your artistry and your creativity and the music and how everything that you were before this has then been able to find a home, or not, with NeuroAcrobatics. Like, how is NeuroAcrobatics as a system of thinking and breathing to produce felt sense in your body employed your music and your art in a way that's very similar to mine or not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so I saw a thing by Gaber Mate. He said the emotional system is as much part of our survival as our immune system and our nervous system. So obviously I was like, ooh, that's my jam. So it kind of that's what kind of spawned my post. So I said guided imagery can be used as a means of harnessing high quality metaphors that are then communicated directly into our emotional body. And I'd also received an email from a breather who was just kind of going on about how they had done guided imagery and they'd done breath work, and neither of those things had really, congealed and like been what they hoped they could have been or whatever. It hadn't really clicked. So the guided imagery with the breath work took both of those things to a whole nother level. So yeah, guided imagery can be used as a means of harnessing high quality metaphors that are then communicated directly into our emotional body. The task is basically to find a way to communicate with the parts of ourselves that have been locked down due to a certain belief being planted in us on a nonverbal level.
So
Art,
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. So the last one is art is then seen as a way to leverage the most powerful form of magic because it allows us to convey what is impossible to convey otherwise.
There's so much in there. The quality of the metaphor that we think and breathe. Because as we learned in the course, right, turns out cellular intelligence speaks the language of metaphor. So as an artist, as a musician, growing up under a apparently world famous haiku poet, haiku is an amazing form of poetry. The distillation, for those of you who don't know, it's in 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, 3 lines. Very challenging. It's a very beautiful form of poetry. So you were raised in a poetic musical creative background. How does neuroacrobatics help you harness all of that to then achieve what breathwork and guided imagery are each independently trying to do? How has art bridged that for you, and how's that working its way out in your practical experience versus the other work that you've done?
Yeah. Gosh, that's a big feat for me to try to sum up. I mean, I've definitely always, I think we've talked about this before, but I feel like my brain works kind of it's prone to thinking in metaphors. Like when I'm having a conversation, I'll go off and almost like tell a story, and the people that know me really well know to just hold on, be patient, because I'm about to come back around and it's going to make sense, even though in the moment they're like, what is he even talking about? Like he started over here. So I've always had a hard time then trying to fit in to any type of, worldly means of communicating in a concise way that the analytical mind then thinks, oh, this is backed by reality or whatever, because of kind of the inability I have to curb my kind of artistic expression with just kind of everything that I feel like I do. Um, so neuroacrobatics and, going through the course and really just doing the breathing over and over and over and over again, it's kind of supported me in realizing that even though people have told me, I've gotten feedback that I need to be more organized or I need to be a certain way, but it's actually that this metaphorical kind of poetic expression is actually is can be confusing, doesn't resonate with everybody, but I think it's actually communicating more than I even know. And so then I start to realize, with any type of creative process, you're trusting that you're willing to be in the discomfort of the tension that is building, that then creates a shift, and then there's this kind of release, and you're like, oh my gosh, with that, like that is amazing. Like, I love this
Yeah.
that just came out, and you feel weird because all you did was try to get out of the way, um, because you start to realize that the inspiredness or the ways in which you create something that is the most meaningful, it feels like it kind of comes from this place of you then learning from it. And so if someone asks you, like, what do you mean by that? It's like, I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this like 10 times. And then I might start to get an idea of what I'm actually talking about. So it's really,
Mm.
I know some of your background, but I think that was kind of right off the bat. It's like, I think our brains have a synergistic artistic thing, and so it was kind of like, this guy seems a little bit crazy. Like, I like him. Like, this is this is how I am. Yeah, little bit.
I'm a little bit crazy. Here's the thing. Can I jump in there real quick?
Yeah, please do.
The most successful people in the world that I've had the opportunity, the privilege to deal with, all think like you and me. They're all asymmetrical. None of them have fit in. Some of them have tried and succeeded sufficiently to have vast, vast amounts of resource. Many of them.
Yeah.
And, bro, I just want to encourage you. You and me, not that weird. The normal that you're talking about that we've tried to squeegee our way into, all going away.
Yeah, totally.
That normal, bye-bye. So this is the time of the eccentric. This is the time of the artist. This is the time of the lover. This is the time of the poet, the musician, the troubadour, the dancer, the creator. Because every office building was built by someone with a creative vision and a dream. Every office building, every home, every spoon, every fork, every knife, every table, every chair, every single thing we use was materially thought of in a mental realm, and there was sufficient emotion attached that person was compelled by need for food or desire or compassion or need to create. One way or another, we get up because we need to create or we need food. Normal says, I got bills, I got things to do, we wake up and we go, and when very few people meet that, we learn early to go, oh, sorry, tuck in your elbows. And so what I'm here to give you, I think we should wrap it up. We'll do another one of these. I really want to follow in and drill down.
Yeah.
What I want to give you is my respect, my honor. You teach me as much as I teach you, maybe more. For everyone listening, tell them what you're doing with NeuroAcrobatics. Tell them how it's working its way out through your friendships, or not. And then tell us where we can find you, because I want to bring you back and I want to have an in-depth, detailed, long-term conversation as you build and grow, because you are the first follower in this way. It's very important. I've seen you, and everybody watching, I vouch for this guy because I've seen him show up. I've seen him breathe for free in Breath Church. I've seen him show up in real life. I've seen his breath and his heart. When you get to know someone in their breath, you really get to know them. So tell us how, in summary, this is now working its way through. As a creative, as a creator, how are you sharing it with others and how's it being received in their lives?
Yeah, well, so I do classes, and I kind of go through cycles of 6-week series or 4-week series, typically kind of in the winter time. And in the summer, everything gets crazy, and I'll do like one class a month or two classes a month, one in person, one online. And then I'll do another cycle of a little series. So, since I've been teaching classes, leading classes for a long time, and I've been incrementally kind of making it more of basically mimicking what you lead more and more, and getting, slowly removing these other components. Not knowing how people will respond, because some people, especially people that I've worked with privately, they kind of get to a place in their breath where they're open and they really enjoy like breathing more vigorously, which is great because I enjoy that as well. Um, and then the newer people, though, it's really been apparent that it's like this gives them something that keeps them within their window of tolerance. So it's just easier for everybody. And it's kind of, it's easier on me because I'm not having to try to get people to be able to do something that they just don't know how to do yet. You know, like it's pretty advanced to stay relaxed while, you know, shunting blood away from your prefrontal cortex and triggering your survival mechanism. So especially with online classes at this point, it's like super neuroacrobatic-y. And the feedback I've gotten is people just love it. So that's been really great, and it translates really well to online, because you're kind of a DJ talking into the microphone, and you know you don't have to try to project your voice, and lead, you know, kind of the subtleties across a big room. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my practice with it. And I definitely, like my partner the other day, something was going on and she was asking me how can I NeuroAcrobatics my way out of this. I said just relax about it.
That's it.
Step one.
Boom. Step one.
And step two.
All right, Daniel Rainwater. Where can people find you? If they want to sign up for one of those courses, learn more about you, where are you at?
Yeah. So sadly, Instagram's the best way right now. My website is currently not up, but it will be up again, which is my website is rainwaterbreathworks.com. It's just my last name, Breathworks. So you can bookmark that and visit it in a month or so. It'll be back up. But yeah, my Instagram is dr.rainwater, and I post funny, weird stuff all the time. And the link in my bio, you can sign up for the newsletter, and that's how I announce things. So yeah, that's basically it.
Cool. Thank you, man. Listen, I respect you. I appreciate your journey. What we're building is a culture of radical personal responsibility. No matter what anybody else says or does, I got to heal through all kinds of stuff. So this relationship of thinking and breathing and building a brotherhood, sisterhood, and everything in between hood that actually represents authenticity. Real, man. They don't have to like us. They just have to know that this is us and they can choose, hey, that's not what I'm doing, or that is exactly what I'm doing. There aren't a lot of people who are daring enough to give no Fs. And you're one of those people. So I see you, I respect you, I appreciate you, grateful for you, and anyone who gets to breathe with you and experience neuroacrobatics with you is a very, very, very lucky human in my estimation. So thank you, and we'll do a part 2, part 3, part 4. We'll keep these short, punchy. We'll start to drill in on maybe the metaphor. Why metaphor? How have you experienced metaphor? We could drill in on art. What does it mean to be an artist? How does music relate to neuroacrobatics? How are you using it? It's far more interesting for me to hear it from you. I know how I'm using it. So thank you for doing it. Thank you for living it.
Yeah, back at you, Sage. Really appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
And yeah, can't wait to talk more. Go deep into some metaphor theory.
Yeah, because this is where it's at. And we're unpacking it for all of you who are watching because we care, because it's real, because we're living it. And I don't want you to buy my system unless you are convinced utterly that my life has enough integrity that you want what I've got. I spent a lot of time and energy going after people, places, and things that turned out to not be the healing I was looking for. And so I'm here to say right up front, hey, this is me. A lot of people are like, yeah, no, not so much for me. A lot of people are like, what is that? And that's that of wonder that I want. So thank you for being a daily. All right, we're going to end the Love Fest. Appreciate you all, everyone. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Please do all the usual things. Find me at sage.rader. but mostly right here on YouTube because I'm not going anywhere else. If you want to check out NeuroAcrobatics, go to neuroacrobatics.com, sageraider.com, find my music wherever music is streamed, and I will see you all next time. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.